Hey, it's Dave Wyman from Danny, Dave, and More. A little edition of Football 101 wrapping up the 2018 season for the Seahawks. Let's take a look at number 3. And every week, calling the games, Brian O'Connell, who's the executive producer for Seahawk Broadcasting, always has notes on, what all the superlatives for Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and, it's just amazing when you go through, and I feel like when I read those, I don't really realize how much Russell Wilson has meant to this franchise. But first, let's talk about his year this year. And this is the one thing that blows me away, is that attempts per game, and this didn't used to be the case. The Seahawks, when Russell, they really needed him last year, the year before that, he was throwing it 34, 35 times a game. Threw it 26.7 times, 27 times, we'll round it up. Dead last in the NFL. Dead last in the NFL. Now, what does that mean? Well, maybe not that much other than you're a running team, except Russell he was number 3 in touchdowns with 35. He had the 3rd fewest interceptions. And this is quarterbacks that started the whole year and had more than 200 attempts. And he had the 3rd fewest interceptions. And he was number 3 in quarterback rating. So, you look at this, dead last, and yet he's number 3 in all these categories. And, you could say, well, he threw fewer interceptions because fewer attempts. I mean, I'll buy that argument. But, as far as the touchdowns go, Andrew Luck threw it 40 times a game, and Mahomes threw it 36 times a game. So Russell is doing a lot with this amount of throws. And he had exactly 27 throws in the playoff game that they lost. And I know people thought they should have thrown it more, and probably should have, but that wasn't how they had their success this year. Career-wise, and kind of got this from Twitter, Russell has 3 pick sixes in his career. Just 3. And they were thrown to Captain Munnerlyn, Prince Amukamara, and Desmond King, and 2 of them were this year. But somebody pointed out, yeah, he's got 3 pick sixes, but it was thrown to a captain, a prince, and a king. I thought that was pretty clever. But, I went through and looked at all the pick sixes, and who do you think had 31 pick sixes in his career, and then 28? Who do you think second? And I'll come back and answer that question later. But let's look at some of the other things. Russell's the first quarterback to have a winning record in his first 7 seasons. He broke his own record because he was the first one in his first 6 seasons last year to have a winning record. So, because there were 9-7 in 2017. Here's the one that blew me away. He's the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for 3,000 yards and 20-plus touchdowns in his first 7 years. The other guy to do that is Peyton Manning. And I went through and looked at pass attempts per game. How did Peyton Manning get here? How did Russell get here? 619 more pass attempts Peyton Manning had than Russell during this 7-year period. 619 more throws to get to this number. And you look at it, break it down, it's about 29 per game for Russell and 34 for Peyton Manning. So he's getting an extra 5 attempts per game. By the way, the pick 6, this is Brett Favre threw 31 pick sixes. Now, a lot more attempts, and I think Dan Marino is the next one at 28. I think he had 34, 35 attempts per game, so it's a little bit more than Russell, but still, that's a lot of pick sixes, and I know that 2 of these came this year with Desmond King and Prince Amukamara, and then the one to Captain Munnerlyn, and I'm not sure if that's how you spell Captain. It might be like Captain Crunch, but he had this in his very first year in 2012 against Carolina. So, it's been a long space of time that he did not throw a pick 6. But I just think that these numbers are pretty amazing when you look at it and you realize, wow, Russell, it's not just that he's a game manager. He is a guy who is, with very few attempts, done a lot, not only this year, but in NFL history. And so, look, man, I don't see how you cannot give Russell Wilson an A+, because with everything he did, he was also the 3rd most sacked quarterback in the NFL. And again, he took advantage of some situations where, he doesn't have the opportunity that a lot of other quarterbacks in the league have.